At the point of time that we're talking about, your contracts that were issued by theatre managements or agents or whatever the case was at the time, there would always be a clause in the contract that says, supposing for argument's sake you were booked to play at the Empire Swindon, there'd be a clause to say you can't play anywhere within a 5-mile radius of Swindon 6 weeks prior and 3 weeks after.
Sure.
And the next clause says, at no time in your act must you converse with the audience.
Right.
So we never had the heckling.
Right. So, why was there a reason for putting that in? I'm curious now.
I think it all revolved round to the Lord Chamberlain's licence.
Oh, right.
Because every show that ever went out had to have a script.
Yeah.
And as company manager, you handed that in to the theatre manager,
mm-hmm.
and he would sit in the box with the script, and word for word.
Mm.
And if you had nudes in it, there had to be photographs of the positions that they were in.
In the script?
In the script.
Wow.
One instance was I was working as manager of the Pavilion Theatre Liverpool, and we'd got to the point, we've still got the same problem now, everybody's looking for attractions to go into theatres.
Sure. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, and if you want to sit down and count them, you've probably got more theatre stages now than we had before they started bloody shutting.
Yeah.
But now they're down to 100-seaters and 200-seaters that are neither use nor bloody ornament.
Financially very hard.
Financially you can't do it. And so anyway, I was at the Pavilion Liverpool, and it was at the point of time where things were getting hard, and we started doing plays twice nightly.
Uh-huh.
Like No Trees in the Street. And one that we did was The Respectable Prostitute. A great title for pulling an audience in.
Right.
And I was sat in the box, and the script is there, and I'm going over the script. And it's this fella who is the son of the mayor of the town, it was all in America, falls in love with the prostitute, and he marries her at the end. Nothing sort of salacious about it at all. And so I went backstage and said, fine, thank you very much, I'll give you a script back at the end of the week. And on the Wednesday night, a fella came and said, I'm going to shut the show down. I said, who are you? And he was the watch committee. And unbeknown to me, where they just kissed and embraced, the curtain came down. On the Wednesday night, he kissed and picked her up and carried her upstage towards the bed.
Oh, right. So that was
a great thing.
Yeah.
I was threatened with all sorts. And that's how strict it was. And that's why you had all these rules that you couldn't do it.
Right. Okay.
I mean, one thing that I'm very happy to say is, you don't remember the Metropolitan Edgware Road, do you? It was used in the film The Blue Lamp.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they knocked it down, and there's a flyover there now. And there, they had 2 signs in the dressing rooms. Every dressing room had 2 signs. And one sign said, will the young ladies in the chorus refrain from standing in the sink to wash off their wet white? As a sink collapsed and a girl was terribly lacerated. Do you know what I'm talking about, the wet white? Well, it was red and yellow ochre.
Right.
And the head girl would mix this up into...
And put it on the legs?
And put it on the legs. It was before tights.
Right.
And they put it off of rose water in a bit. And
so what was that called? Wet white?
Wet white.
Right.
And so they'd do that. So it said, and the young lady was terribly lacerated when the singing. Your mind boggles.
Yeah.
And the other sign said, please do not ask the manager for complimentaries for your friends. Because if they won't pay to see you, what chance have we got with the public?
Right, okay.
And now you find it now, you go to somebody in the show and say, leave your name on the door.
Yeah.
You get chorus girls going up to the box office, what's the house like? And they tell them. This was something that was a secret between the theatre management and the touring management.
Yeah.
Like when you're saying about how did they travel the scenery, if you had so many tickets on a railway, they would give you a free truck, a 30-foot truck or a 45-foot truck to put your scenery in, and that went free.
Right.
And you unloaded it and took it on a horse and cart to the theatre.
Oh, right. So it was kind of like because you made your block booking. Oh, you can have your truck.
Oh yes, and I mean, if you were working somewhere like Leeds Empire, you'd have 3 visits on the Monday morning with 3 men in bowler hats. And one would say, "Good morning, sir, I'm from the LMS. Where are you going next week?" And says, "Yes, so. I can do you 35 tickets for 1 and 3 each." I said, "Right, I'll let you know." And a bit later, another bowler, "Good evening, I'm from the NER. Where are you going in?" And they'd all give you a price.
Right.
And you could knock them down and say, "Well, the LMS said do it for 1 and 3. We'll do it for 1 and 2." But they were important things because it was the one thing that kept your shows going.
That's right, yeah. Help the budget.
Oh, exactly. Of all the pantomimes I've done, without a doubt the best one I've ever done was the Max Boyce one.
Yeah.
We used to start at 7:15
Yeah.
and we were down at 9:20.
Really?
Including the interval.
Wow.
And the principal girl sang 1 song.
Yeah.
Max Boyce played Jack.
Yeah.
And we had a 14-foot giant,
Right.
which walked.
Yeah.
We had lasers and flying ballets, and no
And it
songs.
just moved along.
Yeah, no songs upheated it, and we had to fight with this bloody giant. And the kids used to go out.
Yeah,
Want to come again?
Because it would work as a show.
In this one, we had Zippy and George, and Emma was Zippy, and one of the others was George. And then in the finale, Jeffy used to come down, and I was stood on the chair with Zippy and George around the edge of the scene. And I came out one night, and there was a kid at the door. I said, "Can I have your autograph?" I said, "I'm watching the show." And his father said, "You are? You're Zippy." They could see me from the bloody box. You know.
Really?
So, that was a good pantomime. That was one of Ian B's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max Boyce, eh?
We did pantomime at Norwich. It was originally produced by Carol Todd.
Right.
Very fond of Carol. And I restaged it the following year. And she came in for the last couple of days. And she said, "Incredible." She said, "You've remembered things I'd forgotten."
Yeah.
And he was such a wonderful man to work for. And while we were there, my daughter was one of the dancers, and she came to me and she said, "We want to buy sweatshirts, and we're going to have Jack and the Beanstalk put on it, but we want to sing." So in the pub I said to Max, because he's a prolific writer,
Really?
really, I said to Max, "The girls are going to have a sweatshirt and they want something to put on it." So he said, yeah. And it was "We Hope Jack Killed the Giant," which was the idea, wasn't it? So he calls me up. He said, "What do they want it for?" I said, "They're having a sweatshirt done, embroidered with Jack and the Beanstalk and that on the other side." "Oh, right." He said, "Buy them 1 each." I said, "What about the boys?" He said, "You don't get the boys one." I said, "There's about 12 dancers." He said, "Get yourself one, and I'll have one, and can I have the the Welsh thing?"
Yeah, what they call it.
Yeah. So what was it? I said, "It's about 600 quid." So he said, "If I never ever work again, I'll never ever want." So he works when he feels like it. I mean, it was fascinating. I was watching the last night of the Proms on Sunday night on the telly, and we filled the Albert Hall with Max Boyce.
Yeah. Well, he was hugely popular at one point, wasn't he?
He had 2 1 Christmas
That's
LPs.
right, yeah.
Yeah, 84 or somewhere like that.
Mm.
I think to continue to be a success, you need to be one of 2 things. 1, you need to be stage struck.
Yeah.
And 2, you need to be hungry.
Yeah.
And he's not hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the beautiful thing about Paul Elliott. because he cornered the market in all the semi-names left for pantomime, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, my favourite story of Paul is that over the period of Christmas he used to see a lot of pantomimes. I mean, that was the good thing about Paul. You never knew when he was turning up and you'd see a lot of pantomime. And he was in one theatre watching a pantomime with his wife.
Right.
And it got to the interval and he jumped off and he's heading for the pass door. And she said, "You can't! It's not one of yours!" We used to have acts years ago that were booked because they could open and close in one. You don't know what I'm talking about? No. So there's so many sayings. They're not sayings, they are stage directions.
Right.
The boy that did the drawing, and Roy Castle, but I used to book these two boys into variety bills. And of course, a variety bill has to flow. You've got no compare. It just goes from one to the other. You might have the numbers change on the side. So you had to have an act. That you had a full stage act, say acrobats or trapeze act. The front runners would shut and the girl coming, oh no, hello, and they do a song, and they hook that up, drop in another set, put his easel on, open it up, and he goes back and he does his drawings. Then, in the case of Roy Castle, he would open it with a song. The taps would open, he'd go back and play his drums and his xylophone, then go forward and do a tap dance.
And that was opening and closing in one?
That's opening and closing in one.
Because it closed behind him and then you could get on with the next thing.
That's it. And it's a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. It's hard work watching it. But it's the last performance of the Crazy Gang.
Really?
At the Victoria Palace.
Oh.
There is one standard telephone microphone in the middle of the stage. Standard telephone was round and it had two screw eyes at the back.
I know what you mean.
If you knocked it over, you just shook the carbon level. And there's probably a minimum of 18 scenes, and every scene is a different set. And you go in now, you don't even get a supporting bill. There used to be a hippodrome at Derby, which was a stall house, and the fascinating thing was right opposite was a cinema. And in the cinema, you didn't get a ticket to go in, you got a washer.
A washer?
Yeah, and you handed it in and it went on a loop, which saved buying tickets. But it's funny because I acquired a copy of a 1950 performer. That doesn't mean anything to you. At one time you used to have 3 theatrical papers, the stage, the era and the performer.
Oh, right.
The performer was a nicer one because it was a magazine style and it was a glossy paper. And I got the Christmas edition of 1950, which when it was sold in 1950 was 2 shillings. It cost me 30 quid. And so I got it and read it, and then I passed it on to Norma, who was making this film. I've got a saying, and everybody says, bloody hell, he's off again. And I'll give a cue for a lighting cue and say, fade out with feeling.
Right, okay.
Because so many times you get an operator,
it's
either on or off, you know.
Yeah.
Fade out with feeling. And in C.B. Cochrane's book, I've got it somewhere, I don't know where it is, he said, if the fellow that's pulling the curtain down hasn't got feeling, he might as well go home. This is what show business was about. We all had feeling. I went to see the first demonstration of a memory board. You can tell how far back it was. It was a Magister's Theatre, and it was when Topple was there doing Fiddler on the Roof.
Really?
And I think Topple had left and Alfie Bass had come in, and Alfie Bass was better than Topple. And they brought this Thorn Q file in.
Yeah.
And a fella sat with a box no bigger than that, and he's doing that, and the lights are going. And at the end of the demonstration, which was about 20 minutes with music and everything, the guy got up and said, are there any questions? And everybody was there, the stage director of the Palladium, the Covent Garden, you name it, they were there, all sat in the circle, I'm in the middle of them. And I said, yes, a question, how much is it? Because there was nothing you could ask, you were so amazed at what he could do.
Yeah.
And he said, well, give or take £33,000, we'll gift wrap it for you.
Yeah.
And in those days, it was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then I had to go down. I was a member of the TMA, and I went down to Stratford. I don't know, some meeting of some description, and they showed us around the theatre, and they'd got the memory board in there, and the guy was sat pressing the buttons, you know. And I said to the chief electrician, I said, "Do you get any problems with the board?" He said, "No." He said, "I only get one problem." I said, "What's that?" He said, "The fucking operator." So I said, "What?" He said, "Boredom."
Yeah, really.
Absolute boredom. He said, "The doze off in between cues." He said, there's no achievement now for the operator. I did a play at St Helens, and we had the old Strand Masterboard on, and I can't remember what the play was, but it was a set that was in like 3 layers. It must have been one of Paul Elliott's. It was in 3 layers, and it was about homosexuality in a member of Parliament. It was quite, you know, like that.
Right, a bit tricky.
At the time. And Richard Green was in it. They used to play Sherwood Forest, you know.
Oh.
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
And when he left on the Saturday night, he said, "I will remember this theatre forever." I said, "Why?" He said, "I've never seen such a contortion as it was. There was one cue, we had 3 people on the board, and you virtually got a dimmer in your head and one in your hand, one in your, like that, to get it in. One of the best shows I ever saw, I got a seat for something like £6, and it was front stalls to see it. And I was destroyed when it came off. It came off within a week of that. And that was Mike Batts' Hunting of the Snow. I mean, the thing that stood out in my mind is the orchestra came up on the left.
Did it? Yeah. I think he just spent.
I've never seen so many beautiful violinists. And of course, suddenly the instrument went down and they were dancers.
Right. Oh, right.
That was a brilliant show, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
They had 2 or 3 flops in the. It was before it was the Prince Edward.
Yeah.
They had another holy thing, where God came through the floor.
Not Children of Eve.
Yeah, Children of Eve. I went the other night to see Norman Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked if I wanted to see it, and I said, "No, I don't really think so." And then the fellow that was putting the show on was a friend. He said, "I've got a ticket for you." I said, "Oh, yeah, I'll come." So I went along, and
Where was he on? Was it? Was he on here?
Yeah, the Opera House, Blackpool.
Oh.
And I was stood in the foyer, and they were selling his books, £10 a time. And he would sign it at the end. So I went in.
This is where did he come out with the table? And the signs? Yeah, yeah.
So I went in, and the curtain went up on a very untidy stage. But they're like that these days. And there was 3 musicians. Ladies and gentlemen, Hope and Keane. Mean anything to you?
No.
They were quite big at one time. They had a series on television that used to all operate out of a double-decker red bus. The fathers were 2 very comics as well. They did 15 minutes. Not very good. Ignored the fact there was a circle in the gallery. Only talked to the front 2 rows. And now, to continue the show, a young lady from the Old Time Musical, which was next door, and she came on. She did 15 minutes. She was bloody awful, basically, because she was having to sing with this band, which wasn't a band that played for sopranos.
Really?
So she finished.
Busting away with it.
So she finished, and then back when it came Open Keen, they did another 15 minutes. Then they announced the final act for the first half, Jess Conrad.
All right.
That was like watching paint dry.
Really?
It was just like watching paint dry. But the band was his.
All right. So at least they played together then.
So it gets to 20 to 9, quarter to 9 interval. And I thought, bloody hell, sat here since 7:30, and there's nothing been on that I would have got off my backside to go and see. I think I'll go home. No, you've sat this long. So the curtain goes up on the second half, and
Hope and Keane came on to do another 15 minutes now.
And on came 4 different musicians
Yeah.
with a piano over that corner. The piano was on its own. And they played, and then they introduced the Duchess of Dudley. I've forgotten what her other name is. She's a comedian from the Dudley area,
Oh, right.
who actually did pantomime for B&B at Birmingham Hippodrome. She's bloody awful. She's like a female Les Dawson.
Oh, she's doing that, was she?
So she does 15 minutes. I thought, well, it's got to be no more wisdom now. And on came a magician. Seaforth, I think his name is. Very good with small magic, does a lot of talking in the wrong room. 3,500 seater theatre. So he does 15 minutes. I thought, well, now normal wisdom. And suddenly out comes an East End barrow boy
But this is why he was turning into a comedy act in
who's
itself.
fronting this band and sings 5 songs.
5 songs?
And you don't know who he is.
Yeah.
And he finishes, and he obviously doesn't know how to get off. Then a voice off stage says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Norman Wisdom." This band struggle off, all in view, and the fella, and on comes Norman in the suit that he got off the boat in. Standing ovation. Well, I don't deserve it. And voice says, "Yeah, oh yes you do." He did 3 jokes, and Norman Wisdom was not a comedian. And
Did he do his knockabout?
yeah, situation comedy. It does these 3 jokes, died on the ass. And he said, "I've written a new song, do you want to hear it?" And they said, "Yes." So he sings this song, which was much about nothing. "Do you want more?" "Yes." So he sings, "Don't laugh at me because I'm a fool." Everybody knows that. So he sings a song, and he goes and shakes hands with the pianist. Good night, and walks off.
That was it.
And they're still doing this, you see. So he comes back on and he said, "Do you want more?" And yeah. So he sings, "Don't laugh at me because I'm a fool" again. And he goes off, and the curtain sort of doesn't know whether to go. And he's about halfway in, and he runs across the stage, turns around and runs back again, and the curtain carries on going down. And the voice said, "And Mr. Wisdom will be at the stage door to sign his autograph." He sold 300 books, that's 3,000 quid.
So that's why I was there then.
There was a queue from the stage door into the street. It was 25 to 1 before he signed his last book. It took him longer to sign the books than it did to do his bloody act. And I thought, what a terrible con.
He comes to sell books, hasn't he?
Well, you see, he used to work with a fellow called Tony Fine.
Really?
And Tony Fine gave up the business. So, of course, now, when he goes on, he can only do about 10 minutes because he can't remember.
And this Tony Fine was kind of feeding him
It
all
was
the
a
time.
feed, led him in the right direction.
Really?